Thank you everyone for joining us. This is the AMA we're doing, which is covering sort of Q1, Q2 roadmap updates, the progress that's been happening, and also just discussing anything that you've raised in recent weeks to give you an answer to any of your burning questions. Format wise, what we're going to do is we're going to go through some questions that were previously submitted in a link that we put out earlier in the week. And then at the end, we're going to just do a sort of open platform where you can put up your hand and we will answer your questions directly if you have any at the end of it. I guess to start with, we could do a little intro around the room, so to speak. I'm Alex, part of the marketing team, but mainly I handle community and partnerships. And then I guess Minyi next.
Hi, my name is Minyi. I am the Chief Product Officer at Plutus. I look after everything to do with the web app that you're using, as well as the mobile app, and I interface with across the teams, particularly with the tech team and building the platform. That's me.
And Jasper next.
Hey guys, I think I met most of you, but I'm Jasper. I'm one of the founders of Plutus, involved with more of the operational side of the business, also much more lately become more of an HR function with the growing team. It's been great. Dan and I have been working together since 2016.
I'm saving the best till last, Dan.
Yeah, guys, we all wear multiple hats. We all do quite a few different roles. But yeah, my role is I'm the guy that makes everyone's life in the team difficult. Yeah.
I think your man also doesn't really need any introduction as well.
I hope not.
But I think to start with, before we get into the questions, I believe Dan and maybe Jasper just had a few words you wanted to say.
First of all, thanks to everyone joining the call. I think we have like almost 300 and so souls here listening to us. So it's always humbling. The team has been quite excited for this one because we've got quite a few updates to share in terms of the roadmap. And most importantly, also clear up a lot of the misinformation and the elephant in the room, which is the rewards. I wanted to jump on that right away and get that out of the way as part of my introduction. Firstly, aside from the increase in users, the card spending has gone parabolic, as some of you might have seen from my tweet and the blog post earlier. You guys have spent over $300 million in dollars value in the last 6 months alone. That's a $50 million average monthly spend. Just a year ago, to put things in perspective, that figure was only $2 million a month. So when we look at this data, it's shocking in every single positive way that we could imagine, right? And with the increase of demand in users and the spending, first of all, I want to apologize if we've had an impact in increasing your spending habits. But with that demand for Plu earning higher rewards, the spending has increased naturally. But with that, has also brought a lot of people who've tried to game the system, and the fraudulent transactions have dramatically increased in the last 6 months. We've been pretty lenient with the system in the past because keep in mind that we did not have a system that we could copy and build. We built this from the ground up completely. It's a completely new reward system. Other systems work completely differently in the past, like Tesco reward points, Avios air miles. We wanted to build something that empowers people, and we've done so. But we cannot do it on the expense of impacting people who are earning their rewards on everyday transactions for legitimate purposes. So in the past 6 months, we've suspected almost 50,000 Plu, which has come from questionable transactions. So that during the review process, we found quite a large, substantial amount of those to be fraudulent. And as a result of the audits that we've tried to perform, we've had, obviously, put our hands up. We could have communicated this better, but a lot of things are happening as we discover data. As I said, we have having a data to go by in the past. So as we build the system, we've collected new data points and we've realized how to improve this over time. I agree that it hasn't been communicated properly, but we have taken these steps in order to protect everyone. And I know majority of our users, almost close to 100,000 cardholders, they are using cards for the genuine purposes, as we can see from the data. But only the small subset of users who are abusing the system, we've noticed from our investigations that we found they are usually the most loudest on social media as well. So I would just like to highlight this to everyone. Every step that we've taken is in order to protect the longevity of the rewards pool. our transaction numbers are going high. We also need to be careful of this because if we are not, it becomes less attractive for new people to come and join the system and be attracted to use the Plutus card. We want to keep growing and we want to use this growth that we've seen in the last 6 months and utilize this. But yeah, frankly, I feel like it's extremely selfish for anybody complaining about the audits, because if you've seen from our past record, we're not here for the short term. Everything that we do is with the long-term thinking, because if we were thinking short-term, we could have taken many shortcuts in the past in order to scale up or work with stable coins. If that, for example, some of the companies, I get tweets like this all the time. I've been told like, why is it, for example, Plu, I don't want to go into this, but I feel like I have to. I get these tweets a lot where people are always asking about why isn't the price pumping with the rest of the market when the bull market happens, right? Because the rest of the bull market depends on the liquidity provided by exchanges and stable coins, where the Plu is completely different. It's based on utility and we want it to remain that way. We only want people to obtain Plu if they're going to use it on the app or for the different purpose. We don't want any speculators, because that may be helpful in short term, but over long term, it's not good for the people who want to stay with us for years. And we want to build an app that can be here for decades to come, not something that can last only a few years. So I hope that clears a few of the concerns.
That was great. Is there anything you want to add, Jasper?
Yeah, I noticed like someone comments in the chat, someone asked like, what is an example of a quote unquote fraudulent transaction? What defines fraudulent here is you're trying to game the system for Plu. I'm not talking about fraudulent transaction to the true sense of what this user Nemo was talking about on the channel. But one example is someone goes to the supermarket and we've caught someone actually with this issue. They're buying £20 worth of shopping and then taking £200 in cash, right? And then just depositing that money back into the bank, presumably, and then just doing it again, rinse and repeat. So this is why we ask for receipts. So because we need to prove that these transactions are real at the end of the day.
And but just on that, I understand that not everybody's going to have their receipts from 6 months ago and so on from grocery shopping. We're not looking for that kind of stuff. We're looking for stuff that is a recurring, and we have a few internal data points that we need to look out for. I keep seeing people are getting really concerns about holding on to the receipts. You don't have to, but major transactions which are questionable, I guess everybody gets an email for if somebody buys a laptop from, let's say, an Apple store, you have a receipt for that, especially if you're buying 5 laptops a month. And so these are the kind of things that we look for. So we don't want to make it hard for our normal users. We just want to make it hard for people who are trying to game the system.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a small group of users spoiling the party for everyone. The system is, again, we make apologies for how the system works currently, but in the shortest term fix, right? It's a manual process where people are sending their receipts when we ask for them. It is the best way that we can stop the fraud, right? In short term, but clearly, like, we have a long-term plan, and that includes hiring and different SaaS tools that we're going to add to the business to make it A, quicker, B, smarter, faster, et cetera, et cetera. You need to bear with us implementing this like first line of defense to protect the integrity of the rewards pool. It's upsetting because some of the fun that I read, I don't chime in that often on the Telegram, but sometimes fun is just unreal, right? And I think that you guys have to understand that there's over 40 people working at Plutus, right? And we start from extremely humble beginnings. I think the compliance teams in one country at our competitors is bigger than 40 people. You can imagine like the amount of work that's going in for every single person on the team trying to provide the service to you guys. And it can be quite damaging for morale, right? If people are just going around and saying, what I read yesterday is, oh yeah, Plu's going insolvent. It's just nonsense, right? And sorry to be passionate about it, but we built this business in 2016 to essentially serve you guys. And, I don't know if it's new guys in the community or old guys, but these words have a really negative impact on the business, and it's not quite fair. Because what we're trying to actually build and deliver is an excellent fintech that business that makes money and has longevity. And yeah, for those of you who realize that and are sticking with us, it's really appreciated. And the rest of you, and it's quite sad actually that you have to use these kind of words. So anyway, I just wanted to put it out there. I'm sorry to go on a tangent.
No, both really great points from Dan and Jasper there. And I think with that, we can probably move into the questions. I think the first question that came up that I saw, and I believe it's been addressed on Reddit previously, and we've addressed it a couple of times over the last 2 months. It was asked by Will and Isobird, but I think addressing it here will probably just get it out of the way. And this one's for Jasper. It's what's going on with HMRC. It's saying you're overdue on sending in your accounts.
Oh, okay. I don't think I think it's actually more like Companies House versus HMRC. Listen, again, we're like a small funded team, and accounting is a necessary evil, right? Because you've got to go through your receipts, right? We're talking about receipts. It's quite ironic. But we got to go through all the spending, make sure that every single cent's accounted for, make sure there's no mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. We got that over the line actually last night. Like Dan and I stayed up pretty late to hammer it out. Our accountant at Sod's Law is on holiday for Easter. They've assured me, and the big surprise was it was going to be submitted actually this afternoon. And then I was hoping to come with you guys to just say, yeah, it's actually submitted. I'd be told it's Monday, Tuesday. I can assure everyone that it's really a non-event. I think that the online message is probably a lot more serious than it actually is. Rest assured that things by next week, yeah, they will be filed. It's all good, guys.
Thank you for that. The next question is for Minyi. What is the impact of fraud on roadmap execution and priorities? And this is from Joffrey.
Okay. The short answer is there is no impact. Our customer support team and audit team is much larger in terms of capacity than product and tech team. And so that's one, but also there are just differences between what we do as teams. So we have a dedicated fraud team that governs all activities around fraud and financial crime on our platform, and they are responsible for minimizing that. While the product and tech team, they do support the builds and the refinement for the fraud team, but the day-to-day operation does not impact the roadmap execution in any material way.
I just wanted to add in off the back of Minyi's answer, we just actually hired 2 fraud guys who started on Monday, specifically to cut through the receipts in a very short term. So yeah, we're hiring and creating this fraud team specifically, the very senior hire as well. And actually, I forgot to mention, we're actually looking for a CFO at the moment with regards to accountants. So if there's any accountants out there, I'd love to hear from you.
And that leads quite nicely into our next question, which is regarding the cashback withdrawals. Will there be a better anti-fraud management system that allows the implementation of direct and automatic withdrawals on L2 once a certain period of waiting time is validated? And that's from one of our goats, StuXR.
Yeah, I'll take that. Look, according to the white paper, withdrawals were always meant to be instant and they were supposed to be monitored by the smart contract. But as time went on, when faced by reality, I realized that was a good dream to have, but that was back in 2016. And there was a lot of limitations and due to a lot of limitations in smart contracts, we ended up building a custom solution for Pluton rewards, which works, but scaling it has been quite difficult, especially when it comes down to fraud. So now, as I said earlier, we've collected a lot of new data points, and the whole thing that we're planning to do, like in the next 3 to 6 months, is just to make it as perfect as possible. So we finally reached to a point where we can have a system where within the first 45 days, you are audited for fraud and for refunds. And then once the process is completed, your coins will be instantly available for withdrawal. So this will be done via hot wallet, and it will be on a layer 2 solution. So idea is to allow instant and cheap and fast withdrawals. So yeah, that is the dream to have. And that's not just from you as a customer. That's personally something that I want to create myself, because believe me, like I want people to be able to get their rewards instantly, but I also want to protect fraudulent through coming into the system. So everything that we're doing right now is to be able to scale the company in a better way in the long run. So yeah, we definitely have a plan for this.
The next question is for Minyi, and this is regarding withdrawals as well. The question comes from Mighty Oak. When we withdraw Plu to external wallets under the new rules, will we potentially lose stacking level whilst the withdrawal is in limbo if the withdrawal takes us under the stacking level until it hits our external wallets?
Yes, so we understood how frustrating that could be. So the dev implemented a new fix last week. So now all pending withdrawals are counted to your stacking logic. So what happens is when you withdraw, the amounts do count to your internal balance, and by that extension, your overall stacking balance. And this is critical because when the difficulty adjustment kicks in on 1st of June, where going below your stacking threshold has severe consequences with regards to your grandfather's status. So we make sure to fill this gap. So let us know if there is still a problem with this, but it is fixed.
I appreciate that answer. So that covers most of the withdrawal questions. This question is regarding, I think, regulation, but it's come from a specific person who asked, a person tried to join Plutus and it said he was ineligible to open an account, but support can't disclose the reason why. Can you share the reasons they can't be disclosed, and is it good for transparency? I believe this is for Jasper.
Not a very long answer, unfortunately. It's just tipping off is one of the main reasons. So it's really for a regulatory thing. We can't disclose.
Okay, gotcha. Appreciate it. The next question also for you, and this is from Steve79. With the US market being subject to increased regulation and SEC scrutiny, will expansion to the state happen as planned this year?
Yeah, thanks for the question. It's really topical. It's really clear that the fiat to crypto gateway is closing in the States, being heavily regulated. We had a powwow with like Minyi and Co., who is our US lawyer or US representation, to run through our business model, what we're doing in this current version. And they don't see any impediment to us launching over there. It put us in its current form. The DEX, probably wait and see. It's probably a little bit trickier in all honesty, but yeah, we're still on track, guys, for releasing the States. We're pretty bullish about that market still.
The States is one of the key places to launch, right? Since we announced this last year, a lot has changed in the regulatory environment, but it hasn't changed in a way that it impacts Plutus that we are not able to go there, because all our activities from day one has been intentionally careful in terms of even, especially with the marketing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, for example, how is Plu classified? Plu is classified as a reward token. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's not a competitor to Bitcoin or anything as such. It's just a reward token similar to APOS and AMR. So there's a lot of things that we've been very careful in our marketing from the early days of white paper in order to mentally prepare ourselves so one day we'll face these situations. The regulations, keep in mind, have always existed. Just because the crypto industry has thought that it doesn't apply to them because it's a new system. But however, because I've had deeper knowledge in terms of how the regulatory system works in the financial industry, I knew that this will probably happen in cryptos again in the future. So hence why we've been very careful in how we marketed ourselves, how we do our due diligence, and the products that we offer. I know I've seen questions flying around, why don't we offer APY on locking up Plu? People think that we don't have these opportunities in front of us. Of course, we see that. It creates great demand, but at what cost? At the cost of giving you short-term benefits for a long-term pain. And you can see this happening with companies all around us. Other companies, so there's problems that they're facing because they thought that regulations didn't apply to them, but in fact it does. So all the restrictions that the US market has, we personally, we welcome that, because it's only going to make the ecosystem better. And we want to be one of the first companies to prove things by example.
The next question, I think, directed at Dan and Minyi, which is from one of our ambassadors, Spreedan, who asks, will there be metal cards for premium /
Yes.
everyday users?
Metal cards, guys. Metal cards, I love them. There's going to be one, but there's always been the reason we haven't done it earlier because it wasn't the right time for the company. As I said, we weren't VC funded or we didn't have 100 million ICO. We raised $1 million. And because of our prudent ways, we made it last up to 6 years. We didn't have to do any additional funding for that. But metal cards is a very costly business. But now since we're getting to a stage where we have an all-in-one app, all the team issues that customers are having, once we get rid of that, we can start delivering all the cool features. So yeah, keep in mind. I just read some comment about pink cards. I will leave that for Minyi to jump on to.
It's a sore topic, that one. I have to. This is one where I need Marcus to chime in because I've been asking for a second colored card. But rightfully, I think we need to think about this more. It's not a no. It's on the roadmap.
Yeah, but look, we have maybe not physical cards, but we have something in the pipeline in terms of the virtual cards. So Minyi has some ideas in how to be able to allow you to customize that within the app. So watch this space.
Sounds exciting. The next question, this one is directed to Minyi. It's generally, what's the ETA of better reporting and transaction history downloads? There's currently 2 browser extensions. However, Plutus DEX Enhancer is no longer being developed, and Plutus Analytics dashboard vanished from the Chrome Web Store.
This is a great question. We get this a lot. So first off, we appreciate the community's effort in bridging the feature gap with their own built extension. So special shout out to StewXR for one of the extensions I know of, but we have now built those functionality into our roadmap. So within the next few months, you start seeing with the cards release that there will be an improvement on the mobile app that relates to greater details on your individual card transaction. So currently on the app in itself, you only see a table of transactions and you can't click through that. So we want to bring you greater feature on that, which means where you spend it, what is the time spent, whether it's an in-person transaction or online, whether it's a contactless transaction, and also the percentage of Pluton. And I also like to be able to add the status of that as well. Has that been paid out or is it in pending? So it gives you more clarity on what is happening on a particular transaction. It's definitely more of a challenge on mobile because there are lesser real estate sort of screen, but it's not impossible. The team is working towards those. And our head of design, Philipposis, is working on making sure that we can pack all this information without adding complexity and busyness to the screen. So yeah, it's likely to be within the next sort of 2 to 3 months.
Amazing. Can't wait. It sounds really exciting. The next questions, these are predominantly about the difficulty adjustment. I think this will mostly go over to Dan. The first of which is, how will you make it more attractive for people to stack when difficulty adjustment kicks in? And that's from Optimal.
Yeah, difficulty adjustment is a necessary evil, but it has to be done in order to protect the longevity of the Pluton rewards, especially that our customers, even with a small subset of users, we're getting crazy numbers like 50 million card spend per month. So we have to do what we can in order to protect the pool for long term. And one of these is new perks and partnerships that we have planned to be released starting from this month and continuing going to be released throughout the year, next year. There's going to be a lot of different partnerships. We are actually working on creating a department within the team that looks for these partnerships that are based on internal data, approach different companies and add them as a way to introduce new perks to our customers. And on top of that, last year, we've always had a plan to introduce different features like NFTs, which is still part of the plan, but due to Modulr and all the important things that we have had to do, we've had to move this next year. And why I'm so excited, even though the whole current concept of NFTs and what has happened, me personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but the whole technology itself, I'm a big fan of that because the technology allows people to empower over their asset, whether there be music, digital art, or anything as such. But unfortunately, as I said, with just similar to how the rewards brought in a lot of people who game the system, the hype with NFT also brought in a lot of people who game the whole NFT ecosystem, and it impacted how people perceive it today. But we want to create a unique utility-based NFT system, which we have written a yellow paper for internally and had planned it out. But again, it's been moved on to next year. Aside from all of that, we are also planning to change the subscription plan, which will make the rewards model even more interesting. I cannot give more details on that just now, but this will be announced very soon, and you'll be given time at least 3 to 6 months before any changes are implemented. So it won't be like a last minute change or anything as such, because even though we've had some complaints about not communicating about the rewards, but this was not a change as such. So what happened related to reward was more of a, say, internal due diligence and compliance issue that we had to take a drastic decision at the last minute. So I hope that people can understand that.
Great answer. The next question is another one about the difficulty adjustment that asks, by 2025, one needs 8,000 Plu to get 8% rewards. Considering $10 per Plu, that's an 80K investment. At 5K per month spending, it would take 200 months for ROI, considering the same Plu price. One, isn't 8,000 Plu too high? Two, 2,000 to 8,000 Plu within 2 years. Why not keep it more gradual?
I get the question. Like, again, it's like, for example, if you compare this to Bitcoin, right? So in the early days, when there's a small amount of user base, the difficulty is very low in order to attract more people in the system. And as gradually as the user base increases, the difficulty level increases, makes it harder for new customers, new people to get within the ecosystem. But at the same time, with Bitcoin, why it was attractive, because it's a peer-to-peer cash. Everybody wants to buy in because they were to be able to use it. That was how it was seen as the early days. And with Plutus, it works in a similar way. People are either earning and stacking it up to be able to earn higher rewards, to be able to get to a certain point where they can be able to get to 8% is the goal for most users, right? If we made it really easy, then the rewards pool will only have a longevity of a couple of years at max. Then we'll have to keep printing out, keep minting new Pluton A, Pluton B, Pluton C every few years, similar to what some of our competitors do. They built a system without putting much thought into it, and hence why you see so many different versions of it and hundreds of millions of coins minted out there. We don't want to do that. We created this system. We want to ensure that, okay, fine, early adopters get to come on the platform and gain more benefits, but that's because they were the risk seekers. They gave us the chance and they helped build us up, build Plutus. We don't have any marketing budget. You guys are our best marketers. Having come from being in that situation where you guys have created a way to secure this, we don't want to be, no matter how expensive, if it gets expensive, it only helps less people coming on board, and the people that do come on board, it helps improve the longevity of the system instead of getting rid of the whole supply in a couple of years, which is what will happen if I go by the suggestion of our friend here, Anna.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The next question is from Cecil Daly, who asks, how will you ensure that Pluton will be a good token against inflation?
Okay, I want to take this as well. Pluton, it's not an inflation hedge. It's not an asset of that type or any sort of speculation asset that you could imagine, right? So it's an in-app play token. It gives you rewards similar to Air Miles and Tesco reward points. And then you use it to unlock additional features within the app. So I don't want people to perceive it as a currency or anything that can be misleading in any way.
I think you hinted on this earlier talking about additional utility, but this is a question again from Anna, who asks, are there any plans to also make Plu deflationary, whereby certain activities result in Plu getting back into the rewards pool, reducing the Plu circulating supply?
Yeah, on that, we've had a lot of chat internally. We've got a few ideas in terms of allowing people to redeem their Plu for paid features, such as fees and subscription plans. But a more detailed plan, I will have to reveal soon. I can't say anything now because I know you guys will hold me to it. So yeah, let's announce this later once it's ironed out internally.
Okay, great. And I saw this earlier in chat, so we're going to answer it now because it was one of the submitted questions. But this one's for Jasper from Steve79. And he asks, can the team provide an update on the UK DEX application?
Yeah, sure. We actually had a call with the FCA a couple of weeks ago now, about 10 days ago. Been some feedback on DEX specifically. So we have to go away and take on board what their feedback was and reflect it, but we're still on track is the important thing. Hopefully next quarter. So it's all looking good.
The next question is for Dan, and it's from FST, who is one of our goats, who asks, will the new DEX support more coins beside ETH?
No, that's for many reasons. Not, it's very easy for us to keep adding more coins and go attract the community and get new customers. It's not really good for the system of what we try to actually build. We want to build a platform which allows easier conversion of coins. And we might even see a situation once L2 is achieved, we could even consider where Pluton is the only coin that it can be converted into a fiat on the platform. And yeah, that's what I could say about it for now. I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah. It's something that we don't think to do.
Fair enough. The next questions are regarding perks, and this one was asked in a slightly different way between three people, but Optimal, Steve79, and FST all asked this. Will it be possible to stack perks in the future?
Yes, I've got this a lot from different people, and it's a great idea, guys. But again, it's one of those features that we want to plan to introduce once we've got through the obstacles we have in front of us, which is making sure that all the current bugs that are out of the way, the rewards, the audits, and all-in-one card, and the top-up issues, we need to eliminate all of those before we start delivering all these new fancy features.
Gotcha. And another question, this one comes from Paul Miller. When will the new perks be announced?
This month, we have something interesting planned. So watch this space, guys. Yeah, it might include, from the stats that we have internally, you guys voted for this to be the top one. Yeah, we have 13 confirmed to be announced every 2 to 3 weeks. But then there will be a few more surprises which people will love, I think.
Yeah, and I've seen the perk list, and based off what the community said so far, I'm definitely sure everyone's going to be really excited for what's coming up.
I feel like every single person that has requested the most high demand stuff, people will be satisfied from the list of perks.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to questions about Modulr. So this will mostly be Minyi's wheelhouse. The first question comes from Steve79, who asks, how is the move to Modulr progressing, and when will it be completed with new physical/virtual cards?
Yeah, that's me. So Modulr is going really well internally. So we have migrated everyone of our previous provider onto Modulr. That's all of you back in February for UK accounts. And then subsequently for European accounts, we migrated that early March. So everyone should be on your Modulr rails. On the roadmap in itself, we did say first half of the year. And I think we have exceeded our own expectations on around there. And now currently the team is working on building the card service in order to migrate around from Qantas to the new provider. And what I'm really excited about is the consolidation of your singular balance into one. So you can spend directly from your current account balance, and that will eliminate a lot of the friction that you're seeing at the moment with card top-ups. We're going to obviously have to redesign the app a little bit and have more real estate to play with one balance instead of two, but everything is going according to plan. And once we are firmly over to Modulr as a singular provider, the rest of the services that are more bank-like will subsequently follow. Those are your direct debits, your business account potentially, and the rest of that. So I think all in all, I think it's gone well for a migration of this particular scale with the lean team. I think I wish the dev team was here because I wanted to give them props and kudos for running this migration for all of our users.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. And the next question also for you, Minyi, and this came from 2 users, Alex B and Knox, and that is, when will we get Apple Pay?
Apple Pay as well as Google Pay are both on the Q2 roadmap. Google Pay is a lot less taxing from an implementation perspective than Apple. Apple requires a third-party QA in order to verify that we've done everything properly, which means that there's booking of slots and they're fairly backed up at the moment. But we will aim to deliver that within the next 3 months. And yeah, that's it. Apple Pay is slated for within the next 3 months to the best of our effort.
I just want to quickly jump in before the next question. Casimir, we're reading through chats. There's less fees for Plutus, so they call not to supporting more cryptos. Look, the answer to that is, hey, if we were the kind of company that were looking to make money just by doing like things like that, it would have been very easy. As I said earlier, we've had many opportunities to do things that will put us in even the top 50 of the coins out there, but we haven't, simply because it's, again, long-term thinking. I feel as time progresses on in the future, there'll be less competitors out there. And the reason we're not adding any coins on the platform is 2. One, because there's the due diligence process is long and it's very hard to be able to trust coins. We don't want to add coins simply like how exchanges add coins. And then in the future, they end up having to face legal issues for facing the SEC or the FCA, because frankly, there's not enough due diligence you can do on the different cryptos out there to be able to add them to the platform. And second is, our plan is to make Pluton the main only way how you can convert crypto into a fiat balance on the app. And the reason we want to do that is to give it the spotlight. So if you want to use the Plutus app, you have to get access to Pluton in order to be able to convert your crypto into fiat to use the app. So that's the only way you can get the off-ramp that we're going to offer is through Pluton. And that's something that we personally have this plan for the future. And it's the belief that it will have a positive impact for everyone that is part of the ecosystem.
Great. Thank you for that. And the last question, it's a bit of a fun one. Our moderator, Plutonian Andy, would be really disappointed if we didn't ask this, but this comes from Starlines. And I've seen it mentioned in the chat, by the way, quite a few times. Will OnlyFans become an actual perk, or will it stay an April Fool's joke?
I would love to meet Pluton Andy. He's somebody that I've been looking forward to meet. He hasn't turned up in any of the meetup. I wonder why he's preferring to be an anon. But anyhow, I love his artwork and how this joke got out of hand. Look, we don't discriminate. If there's a demand, we will supply. And that's all I would say.
Great. Since that's all the core questions answered, we can open up the floor to questions. How we'll do it is, if you'd like to basically ask a question and join the speakers, you can just press at the top. I believe there's a button to request to speak, and we'll basically approve the request, and then you can ask your question. I believe Plutoshi Nakamoto asked a question as well.
I saw his question. I think I read something he asked about Tether. So look, all my tweets, I think let's clear this misconception, right? All my tweets, I'm not fudding or trying to cause misinformation. I'm really concerned. I come from a very good place because I've been in the industry since 2012, bought my first Bitcoin at $7, and I've seen the whole Wild West. Nothing has changed. For example, back in 2013, 14, everything that is happening today was happening in a smaller scale in Bitcoin talk forum. And nothing has changed today. And everything is just happening the similar way in a bigger scale. So when I say something against the false prophets within the ecosystem, it's more for educational purposes than to be causing FUD, because I feel like my customers, please, who use the card and app, I care for everyone. And from what I've learned, my own experiences, from my own losses and gains, all I do is share my experiences and the knowledge that I've gained over time. And some of the newcomers might not know this because, believe it or not, the reason I got sucked up into Bitcoin was because of the fact that it was a peer-to-peer cash. It was amazing. But over time, it's been hijacked and it's been turned into just buy and hodl for no reason. And yes, one day you will get rich. That whole thing is a false and a lie. And it all comes from Tether being one of the most, Tether and exchanges being a part of it. And they've brainwashed the whole ecosystem in order to make them believe that this is the world changing thing. But it's been 10 years, since 10 plus years since Bitcoin was around, and it hasn't changed anything apart from it has made few early adopters rich, but it has made a lot of newcomers poor. I don't think that this is the right way of how we want to see the next decentralized currency of the world. So for me, what I'm trying to say is Bitcoin is great as a concept. I love it, but everything that's happened to the industry and how it's been hijacked is what I'm against. And all I'm trying to do is help people by teach them stuff. Maybe I can't deliver all the information in a single tweet because I'm restricted to 140 characters and I don't want to pay Elon Musk $8 a month to be able to type in more. But hey, guys, I would love to do this a bit more to be able to help everyone to understand and share the knowledge that I've gained over the years, right? And again, Tether, why Tether's being traded on Qcoin with Plu, right? We can't control that. Plu is a decentralized currency. Qcoin decides to add Tether and add Pluton to get traded against Tether. If we tell them what to do, they won't listen to us because all they care about is their fees. What we do on our platform is the most important thing. And Tether offers us hundreds of millions to be able to add them. If I ever come to a point where I have to reveal emails and conversations, we can do, but we haven't taken those shortcuts because I understand that we might make a few of the early adopters rich or Pluton holders, but at what cost? It will destroy the company in the long term. So I'm very glad that I'm able to share this kind of where I'm coming from with the rest of the community, so people don't take it the wrong way when I say something on socials.
Great answer. I think Yogi or Sir X has a question.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you, team, for the AMA. We, as community, we really wanted to have it at a long time. And my biggest honor to speak to you today. First question is to Minyi. When dark mode?
Good question.
I promise I didn't pay him to.
I've been one of the people in the company who's been advocating for dark mode, but I've been getting pushed back. So please, man.
He's pretending my mic doesn't work.
No, there must be a conspiracy going on. This is an annoying winny day. It is on the roadmap. We just have so much more exciting stuff that we want to build for you guys that is much more than dark mode. But I will mention to the team and see if anyone wants to pick that up in due course. And I do know you guys really do love your dark mode. And I get pings every day. I look at them, I see it. Give me some time. Let's see what we can do with it.
And I will say, everyone in the community knows that I am the diehard dark mode guy. But based on what Minyi said to me, she is correct. I will say that publicly. As hard as it is to say.
And just on top of that, Yogi, it's a pleasure to hear your voice again. I still remember you from traveling all the way to London for our few hours of a meetup. So still appreciate it. And I'm glad that you're still here, sir.
Thank you. It was the best meetup ever. Next question to you, Dan, which I got from the community, is when the grandfathering is happening, and like when I stake now to gold, for example, and I drop my stake now to 1,000, will I meet the requirements then for the 1,000 stake?
Well, I get that. Look, no, you will lose that because see that opens the door to allow people to game the system. Like, so you can just go and buy and sell and then downgrade and still be on a similar kind of benefits. So it's not fair.
So then, and I have to meet the 1,000 plus X%.
You'll be standard grandfathering, but once you lose your spot, then you lose your spot. I think that's more fair to the overall system than allowing people to game it.
Okay. Yeah. Another question I got from community member from German. When someone is not able to bring a receipt for the fraud check, what happens then?
It depends. It would be quite fair. So if it's just one-off random transaction, then okay, we could. Even I personally go through a situation where I paid maybe a tax bill a year ago, 6 months ago. I wouldn't have the receipt for that unless I dig it up. So if it's just one-off, it's understandable, but we have a few data points. We look for a few things. I don't want to go in detail about it now, because then if anybody's listening with a gamer system, they will know what we're trying to look up for. But as I said earlier on, we're not going to make anyone's life difficult who's generally using the system. It's only if we see certain data points being hit and it's certain alerts that we'd ask. We're not going to ask if you're buying groceries once every few weeks, like once a week. All right. And if you're buying an expensive item every few months, right? But it's only things that look suspicious. And really for everyone else who's using it for everyday purposes like you guys, there's quite a few people that are abusing the system. And again, sincere apologies for the inconvenience. I wish we could have known this earlier and communicated better, but we didn't know, just like you did. Everything is happening as things play out. So sometimes we have to make decisions that might upset people, but hence why we're here. We want to clarify that it's not true. It's for good reasons.
Okay. No, but because I've read in the FAQ, if I cannot provide one or two of them, then just the rewards will be slashed or taken. And I need to prove 5 more or something like this.
Yeah,
or will I be just stay suspended?
Yeah.
That was the issue.
Well, it sounds scary, but it's not like that. Look, we're not going to ask you for €15 grocery shopping at a local store. And even if you do ask, and if you say you don't have that, if we end up suspending you for that, then shame on us. But that's what I say.
Okay.
Cheers for the questions, Yogi. And
Thank you for speaking.
No worries.
No worries. I'm going to move on to, we're quite pressed for time, but I think we should have time for a couple more. So next up, it's one of our goats, Ian. I'll just send you an invite to speak. Hello, Ian.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool. It's I've asked the question a couple of times before and haven't really had a response to this. But it's about liquidity of Pluton. Just looking on CoinGecko now, we've got a circulating supply of 3,154,285, if those figures are right, with a total supply of 20 million. And when I was building up to be a goat for myself and my wife, it was very difficult to buy the Pluton without spiking price. So what's the plan for adding liquidity? Traders look at 5 million plus, etc. So
that's the whole plan. We see the whole concept around Pluton. No matter how much the liquidity market making, even if we hire a market maker to provide liquidity, say you want to be able to buy Pluton, there's a reason why it's like that, because there's only a small amount of Pluton in circulation, and all the data that you give is not it's in fact, it is correct because it's on-chain data. So the amount of Pluton in circulation, I think, is 3.1 and 3.4 is between that. And a lot of the Pluton and 2.4, 77% of the circulating supply is being stacked by our customers who are on either hero or one of the higher reward levels. And that's just how it's currently. With all the plans that we have in order to add more features on the perks, even after difficulty adjustment, the demand for this only going to go higher. And there's going to be less sellers in the market. So what you're facing right now is actually the part of the plan is we can't provide more liquidity because we haven't got the coins to provide the liquidity then. So there are less sellers than there are buyers because most of them are stacking for higher reward level. That's how we increase the longevity of the pool, because there's a lot of sellers. The pool is easy to obtain, and you have 10% of our users are gold. Then the reward pool will run out very quickly. The way we build it, we don't want to mint new tokens and create all these complicated systems. We want to continue the whole reward pool for the next 100 years. And the way to do that is to get people to stack it for higher rewards. And if they are doing that because they want to earn higher rewards, there's only a small amount of sellers are only the people who've achieved the right at the top and they're willing to sell their earned Pluton to the market. It's fine. That's what it's designed for, right? At the same time, if we flooded the markets with a lot of Pluton and allowed people liquidity, which we cannot even do because there's not enough Pluton in circulation, that will reduce the longevity. Why? Maybe you don't know that because I think you may be new. There's a certain amount of Pluton in the rewards pool, and the amount of Pluton that is emitted to users, it depends on the value of Pluton. So if the value of Pluton is low, there's a lot of Pluton emitted. If the value of Pluton is higher, there's a less Pluton emitted. So if people are holding on to their Pluton, there's less Pluton on exchanges, which is what is happening. And as a long-term effect of that, it will organically move the metrics upwards instead of artificially doing it through what most of the other companies have done, working with stablecoin partners and so on. So I hope that clears it up.
Yeah, no, I get that totally. But that concern is that will a lack of liquidity when you go into a US market actually stop people from onboarding, and then you don't get the momentum.
No, totally valid concern. But that lack of liquidity will have a positive impact long term. The only thing that we do work on is the liquidity on off ramps. So off ramps is something that we are concerned about, and it's something that I think Jasper can touch on. Is that we are working with market makers. Maybe Jasper, you want to chime in a bit on how we work with market makers when the new DEX is launched?
The new DEX, we are going to integrate market makers, right? Professional market makers. So for example, in the UK, there will be FCA regulated market makers, which I guess are on a bigger picture, because the market makers I'm in touch with are some of the largest in the UK, they will have to onboard Clue on their balance sheet and basically offer it to their clients, right? And so we're growing the user base and infrastructure of who's offering Clue. You're talking, I can't name names here, but you're talking about big institutional market makers. With those guys, and just to answer your question as well, on these third-party exchanges, we do run a market neutral strategy to increase like order book depth, but it's really market neutral. We don't take a long or short view on Clue, but we provide that as a service to you guys so that there's a little bit more liquidity there. But yeah, fair questions, but Clue is built like this for longevity, right? And we need that supply shock so that Clue goes to 100 years and longer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get that. I'm a long-term hodler, and looking forward to the future of the project. But one final question: if you're bringing institutional large players in, they're going to want liquidity. So how are you dealing with that, Jasper?
They buy the market. We don't see them with a bunch of Clue. With their market mate.
Sorry, Jasper, I want to jump in because I have a train of thought that I might lose. Is from our recent conversation with one of the institutional market makers, we spoke about Clue, right? And it's surprising because it's not like us trying to get them to come on board. They want to come on board because they've turned around and said to us, like, even though your volume levels are extremely low compared to the top 10 or top 50 coins out there, but it's the most organic chart we've ever seen. And it's coming from professional institutional market makers. And that's something to be, for us as a founders, to be extremely proud of.
We're really proud of that. We're really proud of that because one of the exchanges, and it's a massive exchange, right, that we're listed on, got in touch with me a couple of weeks ago and said, listen, you guys aren't hitting your daily volume requirement. And I said, dude, listen, like, we don't wash trade, right? All the trades that you see on Clue, it's 100% real, right? And these are actual volumes versus having one Clue trade like back and forth. Truly proud that we don't false post and we don't bullshit the market at the end of the day. And I know that's probably like going off on a tangent, but we're really proud about how Clue trades and its organic liquidity. I can't really answer your question as to how large market makers will get it. And presumably they'll buy for the market or do OTC trades with one of you guys in this channel, presumably.
Okay, many thanks. I look forward to the next London get together as well. I haven't been to one yet because the train strikes, but I will be at the next.
We'll buy you a beer, man.
I'm drinking one now, strange enough.
Alex, quickly, somebody just asked sub tiers. Yes, sub tiers. I forgot to mention this, guys. This is unconfirmed, so we know details yet. As I said, everything that we're doing, because it's such a new thing, we build stuff as we collect data points and see what works best for the community, right? For the people who are using the platform. And a part of the difficulty adjustment also includes sub tiers, which is what we're going back and forth internally, how to make it happen best. Maybe we'll even come to a point where we ask you for your votes and what the best model is. But sub tiers is definitely part of the plan. Because, I do understand that it might get very hard for a certain set of users to reach higher levels just by earning Clue. So, sub tiers is definitely part of the plan. Watch this space.
And we are running over time, so I think we're going to close it off in terms of the questions.
What?
And do you want to go long?
Oh man, this is so exciting. I think we should do this more often. Like, I really enjoy, like, even after every single meetup or one of these AMAs, you end up feeling like quite buzzed, man. It's a good feeling to be able to speak to everyone and hear everybody's questions. And what's the most humbling part is all the hard work that we do. Again, like, we are a team. We're achieving big goals. We're competing with companies that have billions and have thousands of employees. We are only small, up to 40 people. And we should show you guys that we're achieving similar and better results than most of these bigger companies with such a small team. I had an interview with somebody, one of the competitors, marketing directors, just yesterday. And they were like, every single person in our company talks about you. And this is one of our main competitors, which you all know very well. And they were like, we all talk about you. You're the main speaking point. Everyone's scared of Plutus. And guys, this is actually happening. And this is because of what we build as a team and as a product, what we have, and you guys. And it's the most humbling thing ever. And this comes from the bottom of my heart. Like, I'm happy that I came here today and be able to speak to people and share all this.
And it's great to have so many of you in the audience as well. I think we had like 370 at one point, and it's just amazing. But I am aware that a couple of people messaged me and said, maybe I'll have tea a bit later. So they're holding off on their dinner to hear us speak, which is awesome. But with that in mind, we'll probably come to a close. One thing I do want to ask to the panel, last time when we did the AMA, I asked burgers or pizza for preference. So as a fun one, what do you prefer, coffee or tea? And that's to everyone.
Oh, it has to be coffee for me. I feel like every morning until I have the first espresso, I don't feel human yet. I definitely have one before the stand up at 9. So it's definitely coffee for me.
Like, I'm on about 4 a day, actually. So I'm like, definitely coffee for me as well.
I don't drink coffee, but I have other ways to keep energized.
Tea. And I'm drinking tea a lot of
tea. Green tea is the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah.
I've just seen Tiger Lion Fox, who's one of our moderators, and we've met him at many of the meetups as well. He has requested to speak. So this will be the absolute last question.
Yeah. Before the last question,
we'll
maybe one more. If somebody has something really valuable to share, like not a question, but feedback, you can come on board. We'll have to hear positive feedback, because last few weeks, guys, you have no idea. This is a small team and we do a lot. We put a lot of hard work in. Any positive feedback is also welcome, especially in the days where you're getting hammered for just doing things where we should do better.
I was just going to say, I'm maybe opening Pandora's box with this, but if there are any unanswered questions at the end of the AMA, DM me. And if I can answer them and I can get the answers from the team, we'll get an answer across. But maybe that's Pandora's box, and I'm going to get 1,000 DMs now. I think Tiger Lion did pop in. Oh, there we go.
I think I might have accidentally added myself, got way too keen. I was like, this is me. And then I had to rein it back in again, but I'm going to keep it real quick because everyone obviously is waiting for their dinner. I just know spending a lot of time in this Discord and chatting, and I think you guys as a team, just make sure you realize and understand that I think a lot of people absolutely adore Plutus, myself included. Like, we don't all spend 24 hours a day in this Discord because we hate it. We just want to moan. And even though it definitely feels that way for you guys sometimes, it's like, stop tagging me complaining. I think it's out of a place of love.
Yeah.
With that said, I see the same sort of 2 questions come up time and time again. So just quickly, we can end on these if that's okay. First one is the 3% tier. A lot of people, especially stackers in the community, they are fearful, isn't quite the right word, but they're hesitant that as the stacking difficulty grows, the 3% tier becomes more and more lucrative from like a risk reward basis. So just as a team, what do you guys think about this going forward? Is it something that will always offer as a marketing campaign, or is it something that you'll have to consider?
Yeah.
Forward?
To consider me as founder of this thing is part of one of you guys. Like, I love it. I understand the concept just like you guys do. I have the same concerns what you guys have. So what you just said is already part of the concern internally. And the new plan is going to cover all of that. And I think I've covered that in the earlier chat. Rest assured, it won't be like the way you imagine it to be. Like, only thing we're doing is to protect the longevity and make it easier for newcomers. So I wouldn't want to go into details now, but just wait for the official announcement by the blog. So we've got every little detail ironed out. But again, the whole company is built on the back of you guys trusting us, buying Blue from us in 2016, investing in us, and your feedback matters a lot. So I see myself as one of the customers of Plutus, and yeah, same concerns. So yeah, watch the space. I'll be revealing more information soon. I can't reveal much now because I have to get a yes from the rest of the team. We do run a democracy, even though I might be the founder. So I have to speak to everyone first.
Awesome. And then very finally, at the end, a lot of people are chomping at the bit always for communication. It's always like, comms, we need more comms, we need more announcements. Why aren't you sending emails? Why aren't you sending blogs out? And I'm a stickler for it as well. I want to know something. I'm looking for communications as much as possible. I see you guys are hiring a community manager. What are you doing about improving?
Oh, we already have Alex as part of the community in the team, right? But we understand that we're scaling fast. We have so many more things planned in the pipeline. And Alex won't always be able to be there for you to pay attention. So we're scaling up, guys. We want to do physical meetups, a regular podcast, and do a lot more of these every few weeks if we can. And I want to have more time. The reason I don't have more time to be able to be part of the community is because I'm spending most of my days going in back and forth with trying to build the company. So we're scaling up in a way where we can, like, for example, we have amazing leaders in the team. Like, for example, Minyi, Jasper, everybody takes care of the department, and Marcus as well. And moving forward, as we scale up, I will have more time to be able to do more of this stuff. And is this where I want to get to? So the first 6 years has been building it up, and the next 10 years, hopefully entertaining you guys.
Yeah. And I'm also going to just add on here as well. I think we do try, we will be bridging that gap. And we also recently installed a tool that will enable us to send comms in a much more frictionless way. Marcus has been settled with the task of comms, and it's all on all of us. But I think going forward, you will definitely see improvements on that area. So we want to be communicating. When Marcus is thinking about comms, he's thinking about a couple of things. And I'm speaking on behalf of you, Marcus. We're thinking about at what time do we send the comms? At which channel will they be on the comms? If we're sending something at 7 p.m., it's likely not going to be your email because you're probably not likely to be reading that, but it'll be on your mobile phone. So it'll either be a push notification or an in-app pop-up. So I guess watch this space. It will be feedback. It's appreciated. And there will be improvements coming.
And on top of that, I also want to give a big appreciation to Bora, which most of you who have ever had any customer-related issues might know of him. I am very personally lucky to be able to work alongside him because he's super efficient, and he's managed to take our customer services team from a team of 4 or 5 people onto almost 20 plus people. And I feel like it's a department of the team which will be as big as product team, if not probably the biggest part of the company. Because for me personally, what's most important is, aside from the product and everything else, is marketing and customer service. These two things go hand in hand with each other, because customer service is part of your brand. And the biggest disappointment is not to be able to keep up with the 24-hour response time. And I was proud of it as a founder to be able to respond to all our customers within 24 hours to keep them in with a peace of mind, not from a bot, from a live person that somebody's monitoring their case. But because of the influx in volume, we didn't expect to go from 2 million to 300 million spending in a matter of 6 months. But because we're there, now we're scaling up. And you guys, I feel, are part of the early beginnings of something very big and something very organic as well, which is not very common in the crypto industry. So as a customer that you support us, like, for example, I meet other company founders, right? They say that what you guys have is unreal, because it's very hard to have a company have customers like the way you guys are. You support us, even though you give us hard time on certain things. When things go wrong, it's deservable at times, but you're still there. That is humbling, guys. Thank you so much.
I'll duck out, but thank you very much on behalf of the community. You guys are awesome.
Yeah,
Keep up.
thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers for that, Tiger. Are there any last words from the team you want to say?
From my side, I think I've said everything. It's all about, I just want to be able to communicate a lot better. I understand that we live in the wild west of crypto, right? So everybody's used to being rug pulled and all that kind of stuff. But again, like, Jasper and I don't drive Lambos. He drives a bicycle. I take the bus to our office. Like, we've been here for 10 years. We had opportunities 100 times over to be richer than most of these people in crypto today, but we haven't taken those. Like, we joke about this internal joke that we've the longest serving CEOs in cryptos without millions to prove it. Our game isn't short term, man. We are here for many years to come, and we want to create a system that writes our legacy.
Yeah. Great sentiments, dude. I wanted to say, the last thing I want to say is keep the constructive feedback coming, guys, and the support, obviously. It's amazing. The fact that you guys, especially the ambassadors, were just like defending us and fighting off some crazy fun. Keep doing that. As Dan said, sometimes criticism is warranted. We get it. Sometimes the fun is just out of control. Like the crazy shit, like, you definitely keep in the box. We don't want that. Anyway, we'll keep working for you guys. And thanks very much for joining today.
Thank you for everyone that joined. And for those that asked previously, even though it was mentioned, it is recorded. So we will be uploading that later. So yeah, thank you everyone and enjoy your evenings.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great Thursday evening. Enjoy.
Bye, everyone.